as our panelists are coming up, I just wanted to, this panel is about art and culture and its role here in cities. And I was just reading this morning about NFT Paris. And last year when Pierre and I were talking about NFTs, we looked at the art markets, and for the first time in history, the Paris art market had fallen in its share of art. And I said, it's because the city's not doing anything for NFTs. And we had this long conversation that the government wasn't going to get involved. The president of France went to NFT Paris to talk about why it was the right place for entrepreneurs, dedicated a space for entrepreneurial NFT companies to locate and co-locate and create a community because collaboration was important. And in the last 6 weeks, you can see the movement. It's really amazing. And this panel is here to talk to you about that topic.
Thank you. Okay, and we have a few people joining us on Zoom as well that I think we'll be able to see. So let me give this a little framing. Art is really important to all of us. My name is Robin Raskin. My current group is called the Virtual Events Group, and we advise companies on how to make their best meeting. I don't care if it's in the Metaverse, Mars, or the Marriott. It doesn't really matter to me, but it's tech forward all the way. Before that, I was probably best known as the editor of PC Magazine, but I'm going to date myself. Like Bill Gates was writing DOS, and I was the editor of PC Magazine here in New York. So there was this other, we're a CompuServe prodigy shop, and this other little thing happened called the internet. And so, guys, we ought to watch this thing. It's looking like it's really going to turn out to be something. And fast forward, the internet, probably since Fire and the Wheel, was the most extraordinary invention in time, and I think we're about to see this all happen again. And while we're going to talk about the metaverse and NFTs and art and public spaces and destinations, I want you to keep in your head, how many people actually have an NFT in their, how many people know what it is they have? Not so many yet. So there's a lot of kinks that need to be ironed out. So why don't you put up my first slide? And I'll just... Okay, yeah, that's good. That's a good place to start. So we've seen, to put this in context, go to the second slide, a lot has changed, and the pandemic, as you all know, just accelerated that change. So you had a pandemic where everybody spent a lot of time on screens playing. And I have to tell you that the metaverse has gone down a little bit. If you go to Decentraland or Sandbox, it's a kind of desolate, empty place right now. There is a true desire to have real contact at this moment. It will balance out again. Things are cyclical. The other thing that you saw happen during the pandemic was a brand new cohort of people who are digital natives come of age and expect that the journey between digital and physical is just fluid. It doesn't really matter to them, and they don't even make the distinction. They're happy to buy in either place. They're happy to visit in either place, to play in either place. And then the tools. We should be talking a lot about the AI tools. They will change everything, but the tools that have helped us build the metaverse, whether it's Unreal Engine or the 3D tool sets that people have, make this possible for every art institution to become a virtual destination, for every public space to become a virtual information. And finally, just the thought that art has always been a first mover in this. Art and luxury goods, I'd say, are the two first movers in the metaverse, and we can discuss why. But I really want you to hear from our panelists. So let me go to this next slide. So the promise. The promise, you've heard about it all morning, whether people were talking about the city of New York or other cities or the workplace. The promise is inclusivity. The promise is discovery. The promise is a whole generation of new creatives who will emerge out with these set of tools. The idea of owning something that you love or being able to view something you love. We know the art world is very much based on scarcity, and we're going to talk about that. The archives that sit in people's private homes and in basements and in the bottom of the Metropolitan Museum can now be open to the world for the first time. And then we talked a lot about the blend of physical and digital, but I want to point out that Gen Z will spend as much money on their avatars' clothing as they spend on their real clothing, and then they will want to buy the real clothing to look like their avatar, and then they will buy it on Tommy Hilfiger in the Metaverse and collect it in the store in the fall, but they will be first to line up. So there's this VIP blending digital twin world. But let's focus on the perils for a minute. Let's just jump to the next slide, because I don't think we've spent enough time on them. I can tell you about the time I went to go buy a dress in the Metaverse for a fashion show, and it ended up costing me, this $50 dress by the time I paid gas fees and tax fees and moving my NFT fees was like a $250 dress. I said, I'm just going to wear my T-shirt. Cryptocurrency, again, it needs regulation and it needs guardrails if we are really going to accept it as a means of transacting in the metaverse, which makes perfect sense. But the whole onboarding, setting up your digital wallet, is still not for the faint of heart. And what's happening now is we live life here in synchronicity. We come here because we want to be together. If you go to Decentraland or go to the Hilton or go to Bora Bora, you are alone there in the metaverse for the most part. And the exceptions are concerts, in particular Roblox and Fortnite, and sporting events. So we have a lot to learn from what they do and how they monetize it and how to make those places vibrant places. And we talked about how great decentralization is tough because nobody's accountable. And there is, I don't know how many of you know about the Metaverse Standards Organization. They're working really hard and doing some great work so that you can be sure that your avatar that you built in Ready Player Me can go to 5 worlds instead of just 1. So I think we have our challenges, and we shouldn't shy away from them, and you guys in this room are really smart and can figure them out. So next slide, I am going to, rather than give you everybody's bio all at once, because this is a vast panel, I'm going to introduce you to them one at a time, because they each have a different mindset about what art should be and where is the purpose of art, public and destinations. You met Richie this morning, and I'm not going to go into huge detail on their bios because you can look it up online, but Richie Karaburun is the clinical assistant professor here at the NYU School of Professional Studies. He knows more about destination travel and the industry. He's recognized as a travel industry expert. He consults for different companies. He definitely has his finger on the pulse. And one of the things we talked about on the phone was when we prepped, I said, cities are scared of this. They're afraid you're not going to want to visit the city when you can visit in the metaverse. But Richie's going to give you his vision of how the hospitality and destination industry will change because of the metaverse. And with that, I'll switch.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Okay. No, it's my slides, Andrew.
One more.
Hopefully you guys are not going to be sick and tired of me. I promise this is the last panel that you're going to hear from me, so that, And tonight's dinner, I highly, highly recommend at 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock. That is a virtual. It's going to complete today. It's phenomenal. Le Petit Café in Marriott. I'm just doing the commercial. All right. That's basically. I need to get up because I hit. Sorry. So we in the classes are always actually we're not sitting. So My name is Richie Karaburun. I go by Dr. K. So I am passionate, if you haven't figured it out by now, about the destination marketing. For arts to be actually selected, to be seen, than the destinations. When we talk about destination marketing, we talk a lot about the stakeholders and the museums, hotels, and everything. They are part of it as well. And I have a couple of small slides, and then just to actually give you some things. Okay, Andrew? My clicker doesn't work. All right. This is one of my favorite video. I hope you're going to hear the sound. This is how I see education and cities around the world. And while you're watching this, ask yourself, what's in it for me? And what basically I can learn from this. Of course, it's good with the sound.
Right.
But,
Is this mic hot? We can learn bandwidth is still a New York problem, right? Is what we can learn.
So 5G is a must in Metaverse. So the cities learn that actually if you really want to go in, that worked beautifully last time when I did that in Metaverse boot camp in a different building.
I would just...
And let's pass, but I'm afraid that...
But,
okay, let's go to the next slide. This was actually phenomenal how the feature of classes in Metaverse would be, but we can actually send that to you, so you don't... I'm just passing.
There's a website called
Perfect.
Victory XR. They have made digital twins of 100 college campuses now and are doing everything with the Oculus. Anatomy, geography, astronomy. You should go look. They started with the historically black colleges and moved on from there, and they do a nice job.
So we were just talking about this. Is Metaverse going to kill the visitation? My hypothesis is no. In fact, it's going to augment. It's going to increase the visitation. Especially, we talk a lot about the competition when it comes to destination marketing. So my thing is how cities can actually, or tourism offices and destination marketing organizations can actually use Metaverse at the time of decisions. And we've talked a lot about the immersive experiences, right? This is Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3 now. It's all about the immersive experiences, especially with the new Gen Zs and everything as well. They want the experience, and they want the experience to be actually phygital. First, they want to actually see the digital environment, then let's go to physical environment as well. Many destinations, they are actually now competing and how they can actually do well in Metaverse. So my advice, and tomorrow we're going to talk a lot about what Dubai did. In fact, we're going to talk about why United Arab Emirates also created a ministry of a Metaverse unit. So Visit Maldives and Switzerland Tourism did a great virtual reality. And this semester I teach destination branding in Metaverse. So we take our Oculus glasses. We all established they're not perfect, but we also established that the first cell phone was not perfect either. So it is, while Apple's and Microsoft's, they're working on it. So we actually did the field trips. And if the students couldn't decide, they should either go to Ecuador or Peru, and then after 15 minutes to half an hour visits in Metaverse, that they can actually make their decisions on that. So I'm afraid, and I'm not going to hold this. This video is Emirates. For destinations to be visited, accessibility is a major thing as well. Now the airlines are a big part of the stakeholders as well. And this video is we can show how Emirates actually work on this, shall we? All right, again, there's no sounds. All right, technology is great as long as it works. Andrew, that's okay. So just leave it. That's not me. Let's pass this slide. All right, so how we actually see Metaverse impact on hospitality and travel business is that it's just really the guest experiences is pre-travel, during travel, and post-travel as well. So they can use it. And we've talked this morning about staff training, right? Not only cities can actually use Metaverse on their staff training, hotels are already doing that. Many of the Marriotts and Hilton hotels are now actually training their housekeeping staff in Metaverse first. And brand owners are loving it. The reason they're loving it is basically the brands and owners, it's much cheaper It's much cheaper to actually train hotel staff in Metaverse than actually in the physical world. And the key term is sustainability, right? Metaverse really do help the sustainability end of it, so that hundreds of staffs don't have to travel around the country. So that's actually a good one. Next slide, Andrew. I don't know why I have the. Oops. Next slide. All right. So many art museums, many destination attributes, they actually already started utilizing the VR experiences and then AR experiences in order to actually grab the market share. First, we talk a lot about the share of wallet and share of hearts. And I think Meta is going to actually increase the share of hearts, and then the brands are actually going to get the wallet of their customers. And then this is one that Greece actually used, and this is one of the very first one. And that actually increases new opportunities for cities. A lot of people think that, oh my God, this is not only going to cut down the visitation, it's going to cut down some of the jobs as well. Development of new business model is already coming up as well. And one of the things, how you can actually monetize it, and we call this Netflix model as well. Some of the destinations are actually creating subscription models into their Meta environment. Let's see. This was also, I don't think that's going to be effective without a sound, but this is what National Geographic did. This is one of my favorite videos as well. They worked with 2 destinations in Antarctica and Machu Picchu, and they really created a phenomenal promotional video that actually increased the visitations as well. The cities can actually work, and it depends on their attributes. Cities can actually partner with companies like National Geographic and many others can actually do that. Next slide, Andrew. This is, all right. So this is, I don't know, how many of you guys been to Anne Frank Museum? When I went there a couple of months ago, they said the tickets were sold out. It was about 6 months wait. So this is one of my favorite, when the attractions and the museums are actually can create that in AR and VR experiences. 2 things. A, the ones that who want to visit, the ones that who actually couldn't visit because the tickets were not available, that tickets were scarce. And then the Metaverse is actually, or AR experiences, is giving the travel suppliers that to actually augment their experiences even before they actually travel, and I like that. It's a unique experience. Airbnb started using when they looked at it. Radisson actually just yesterday announced they are using VR experiences for their hotel booking, so you will be able to use your hotel rooms, and then inside of the hotels, the restaurants and everything. Marriott started as well, so you're going to be seeing this when you go to Marriott.com. You'll be seeing a lot more of the virtual reality experiences, and Airbnb announced, and Brian Chesky announced that it is going to be part of their major strategy to use the augmented reality and virtual reality on their platform as well. Next slide. I think I'm, let's see. I think I am pretty much. So this is good. This is the last one. Grand Canyon. We work with Arizona State and as well as with the Grand Canyon area, and many of it's a huge tourism attraction, both domestic and international. And then now many of the activities, small mama papa operators are actually trying to increase the booking experiences. What we call this normally says try before you buy. I've changed it to try before you book. So in a way, and in some cases, the company called Amadeus, you're able to actually, while you're seeing that, you're able to book your attractions. So the cities can actually partner with companies like Amadeus. Once you have this beautiful VR and AR experience, that's perfect time to capture when your prospective travelers are there, and then they can actually book the physical experiences when they actually like the digital experience as well. So I really think, again, I'm excited. The Metaverse, VR, and ARs are actually changing the way we book travel and the way we see the destinations and cities as well.
Yeah. Well done and succinct. And yeah. And so I think one thing you should think about is there really are 2 sort of destination kind of philosophies. One is the try before you buy, and the other is as a world. And my question, we'll talk about this, but once you go to the Anne Frank house once in virtual reality, do you really want to go back again? And what should people be thinking about to keep them coming back again, whether it's a special lecture series or a VIP ticket? And that's where we're still sort of nascent about all this. So next up comes into us on Zoom, and that's Toni Sikes. Toni is the founder of 3 art companies, and she currently serves as the CEO of CodaWorks, which is the global leader in commissioned art. So imagine if Houston wants to commission public art, her company will handle the RFP through the whole process. And now she is beginning her journey into the NFT world. Toni, are you there with us? I will be on mute. This mic is still on.
I muted over here. That's not the issue.
Okay.
I don't think she's in Zoom.
Okay. Let's move on from Toni, and then we'll skip back. Well, thank you so much, and stick around for our questions, because that had a real emotional tug to it, which I think we need to focus on more. But do we have Toni on the Zoom window now, and is she? We do not. Okay. Well, so Snow, I think that this is a perfect time, since Mr. Levy talked about you with so much passion. So you are a new media artist. You are a curator. I saw some of your work, and it's breathtakingly immersive and beautiful, and also looks at the metaverse where laws of the real world don't necessarily need to apply. So she has worked with 3D simulation, AR, XR, the metaverse, creating computer-rendered images, moving things, been at so many galleries and so many exhibitions. And I think what you'll take away here to amplify Sylvain's comments is the emotional part of art in the metaverse.
That's great. Thank you so much for that introduction. I will also stand as a professor. I think standing and talking is a little bit suitable for me. So hello everybody. I'm Yunxue Fu, and apologize for the delay earlier. Don't you just wish sometimes you have multiple you, right? I mean, especially this busy world, and great stuff happening, and sometimes online, sometimes in person, sometimes simultaneously. So I will introduce myself as a new media artist first and foremost. I'm also a curator, which means that I take care of not just my own work, but other people's artwork and show them, as you will see in the project that I specifically will highlight, that I've been collaborating with DSL Collection. They've been actually commissioning this virtual Washington Square Park project on the Metaverse for almost 2 years. And I am also a full-time assistant arts professor here at NYU Tisch School of Art, so I do keep my life a little bit busy. This first slide is just kind of platter plate, I like to call it, of my artistic project kind of over the years. So a little bit background about my involvement with digital media. So I've been working as a digital artist for 11 plus years at this moment. And before that, I come more from a traditional painting, photography, sculpture background, and how that kind of also all combined within my current practice within the digital space. And so I just want to run the slide kind of quickly. That's okay. Yeah. So if you want to scroll down to the next one, it's a little bit more of my bio. So a couple kind of examples too. Of course, as digitally born artwork, it's very moldable, right? You can experience on screen, you can experience as a projection, you can experience as a VR, and also installation. So that's kind of what I've been doing, for more than a decade. And of course, when the wave of the Metaverse come in more so recent years, it's very much right in my alley, and that's also what I teach, right? So I teach what I do what I teach, so specifically 2 classes I want to kind of mention, which is after the intro class, my student take either a emergent media studio called Fluid Environment, where they actually create worlds, right? So world buildings, which fits right back to the Metaverse, and then the other one is called Digital Body, where you technically manipulate, model, rig, and animate bodies, which fits in the concept of avatars really, really well. If we want to scroll down, so here just a few mention of where my work has been. I've mainly operated in the art world, right, coming from an artist family, and also this kind of transition from the traditional medium to digital. I think, in some ways, we're all experiencing this kind of physical moment, right, physical and digital, that it's not just one or the other, right? It's really about the simultaneity. So, operating from an artist's perspective in that, and also educator, right? And there's been kind of really interesting ways that a lot of my project kind of intersect with environment, intersect with maybe even an idea of destination a little bit. I'll go into that a little bit more. If we can scroll down. So that image real quick. That's actually one of my Metaverse solo shows that's still currently visible online on VR platform, which is another platform that Sylvain also work with DSL Collection. So that's a solo show instead of a museum show where you go to MoMA. Here you just get on the app, right, or you go onto your computer screen, and there are 7 artwork each side, so 14 artwork all in total, and they're also built not this white wall, right, space, but actual artwork, VR artwork of mine. So you're in an artwork while visiting other artwork. If we can scroll up. Really quickly, I was talking about multiple me, so here is one of my ongoing projects. This is Daughter Eyes, who is a digital human that I consider as my daughter, who kind of exists in the same timeline. So unlike, a novelist will write about a fictional character and already have a storyline, Daughter Eyes exists with me, and she experiences life and development through me. And you might see her pop up in social media. She recently co-curated a show with me in the VRWS Park's newest exhibition called Shen. If we can scroll up. So it's a little bit more about Daughter Eyes. That's in the middle is when she first visited her Metaverse home. So as an ongoing project, after building Daughter Eyes, I also built her a home. Inspired from Frank Lloyd Wright, one of my favorite architects, Fallen Water, right, which is actually a destination, have a long waiting lines if you want to go, visit. So if we can scroll up a little bit more. So here we built a floating home, kind of in the context of, I would say like a North Pole, right, with like the aurora in the back, and doesn't need any walls, right, because she's not afraid of cold. So there's 3 stories of this beautiful house. If we can scroll up a little bit. Here you see Daughter Eyes standing in front of it, right? And this is both a private home of hers, but it's also public. It's on Sensor, it's on Metaverse, so people can, visit this imaginary home of her. A little bit about Daughter Eyes, if we can scroll up. So considering her my virtual daughter, so my mother was also an artist. She's in China. I'm Chinese American. So I kind of come from this family of artists, and now Daughter Eyes is an artist. But she is a digital citizen, right? Or in some way she's a non-citizen, right? So she paid tribute to her Chinese American heritages of her mother, but she can also engage, right, in broader communications. This was one of her premiere we had in the the recent NFT Paris. So that was with Aika, also Karen Levy, part of the DSL collection. If we can scroll up. Yeah, finally. So this is a project that I will kind of talk a little bit more about DSL collection. Approached me, right? So Sylvain approached me about 2.5 years ago, and this project come into fruition. So we built this Metaverse VRWS Park out of the beloved Washington Square Park that we're just right next to, and since then, right? So building everything from scratch here, right? So since then, we have been able to host many exhibitions, right? So you can scroll, and on the Linktree page, you can actually see all of our previous exhibition, previous events that we were able to also host, right? So if we can scroll up, this was one of our first exhibition where, if you recognize the little fountain here, right, with also a bit of a snow on it, we were able to set up this giant monitor where we can see the artwork, which, would be a little bit more costly if we were to do it here in the physical park. If we can go up. Thank you. This is actually one of our other exhibition. We were able to host the senior thesis show of my NYU Tisch photo imaging department, so about 50 students, senior thesis show. And this was kind of still during the pandemic where a lot of parents couldn't travel, right? So they were able to join us online, whether to go into Web3 spaces or actually connecting their TV in the living room and able to see their student and their artwork, kind of visit the artwork that way. So we really love the fact that, this is a park that opens 24/7. This is an art show that it's actually still on display right now, right? So it really doesn't close. And anywhere you potentially can join, right? So all over the globe. In fact, we have many events that's, across the continent, France, US, China, you name it, right? So really quickly, so here are just some exhibitions, some other events that we did, including an avatar comedian performance, which I collaborated with Professor Carla Guinness from NYU Tandon School. So it's very cross-disciplinary, right? The great things about Metaverse is you can do so many things in there. Going up, finally, I want to talk about the newest show, which I co-curated with Daughter Eyes over there waving at you, where I was able to bring in 17 artists, and then 2 of them are my mother and my grandmother's work, right? And then Daughter Eyes was actually 4 women artists, in 4 generations. And then other artists who are all over the world, inviting them, if we can scroll up, yeah, feel free to scroll up, to, showcase work that really consider this idea of shen, right, which translate from Chinese into life, living, birth, and lives, right? So how do we see our life every day in this kind of hyper technological environment, which actually I think we all are experiencing so many different levels. Scrolling up, please. And then we just opened literally this past Monday. So I really encourage you all to check out the show. Here's a few installation shots of the way that you can see the different artwork, right? Again, I know some of you coming from out of town, so you can, visit the physical Washington Square Park, but you can still have the virtual Washington Square Park to visit wherever you're going back to. And yeah, feel free to check out my website, snowYunxueFu.com, where all of the project with more details are listed if you want to see more about it. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
You are unbelievable, but I have to ask you this burning question. So if I were to go on to Midjourney or Dolly, and I say, build me Washington Square Park in the style of snow, what would happen?
Ooh, that's a very good question. My understanding is Midjourney may not be that capable yet, but they will get you there, right, sooner or later. So yeah, that does kind of get into the idea that, artists work with tools. I used to work with physical tools. I've been learning to work with digital tools in, so many ways the past few years. And now AI is another really great tool, right, that kind of comes around. So I'm pretty excited about working with AI, right? For example, you can Word to 3D modeling, give me 50 variations of park benches. So I'm pretty excited about potentials that when I collaborate with Midjourney, and such.
Great answer. And I'm really a nut about attribution. So if you've used an AI chatbot to help you in any way, put it out there. I also believe we're all going to make our living. I'm an Andrew Yang. Like, we'll get a universal basic income for what we've put onto the metaverse and AI. But we'll see how that works. And finally, you've been so patient. Pierre, I don't know how many of you know Pierre Gervois. He's here also at NYU, but he is a crypto poet. And I am going to let him tell you what that means and his particular journey. He's been involved in NFTs for quite some time. So, Pierre, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Is the microphone on?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, is it on? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to stand up as well. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I would like to say a few words about my personal experience as a crypto artist, as an artist using NFTs, and after to say why I believe that NFT and crypto art is the future of public art for cities. In 1988, I read a book about contemporary art. I was living in Paris with my parents, and I had a kind of a shock, kind of really a very profound experience. And I was like, I understand what these artists want to say, and I am an artist. This is who I am. So I went at the beautiful Centre Georges Pompidou in Paris. I watched the abstract expressionist, and I really had a shock. And I was like, okay, this is who I am. I am an artist, and I started to paint and to draw. And I came from pretty conservative family, and I told my parents, oh, I think I want to go to art school. And they told me, you can do whatever you want, but a serious job, certainly not art. This is not good. And I would say, okay. So I went to college, I studied different things, but I always kept drawing and painting. And I did that for 33 years until 2021. So for 33 years, I had like a double life. I had multiple professional experiences, which I loved, and I was good at what I was doing. But nearly every day, I was also drawing, painting, and I never told anybody because it looked like really complicated to show my work out there. In early 2021, I heard about NFT and crypto. And I was like, oh, what is that? That looks something very, very technical for people in finance, industry, for experts in computer programming. And I learned a little bit about it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put one of my artwork that I made on a computer on the blockchain. I'm going to mint one NFT, and let's see what happened. I have nothing to lose at that point. So I minted my first artwork in May 2021, and within 1 hour, a collector purchased my artwork. And I was like, oh, wow, I should have been incredibly lucky. And in the first week, I sold 6 pieces. And after I put more pieces and more collectors purchased my work, art galleries reached out to me, represented me, sold more work, and basically my life changed in the second half of 2021. And this happened because of this technology, because of NFTs, because of the metaverse. So this is a very actual example on why this new technology, the metaverse, the blockchain, NFTs, are changing the life of artists. And the most profound things about using NFT for art is the fluidity that it allows. I have been in contact with a lot of artists, curators, people involved in the arts for the past 2 years. It would never have happened before. And because of this NFT technology, you can show your work all over the world. You can exchange, share, have conversation with fellow crypto artists. And this was not possible for very physical reasons. If you want to organize an art exhibition somewhere in the world with artists coming from a lot of different countries, you have to physically ship a canvas, a sculpture, who are physical, tangible objects, and it's complicated, and there are shipping cost, insurance cost, installation cost. So it is not easy to do. With NFT technology, you have a unique artwork, you have a provenance of the artwork that is guaranteed by the blockchain, and you can organize art exhibitions all over the world with artists from all over the planet. And that is the beauty of this technology, that is not just a technology, but it is profoundly human. Now I'm jumping into today's topic, which is public art and NFTs. I love public art. When I walk into a new city and I see a sculpture or a mural, I feel uplifted. I really love to be around artwork. But it is also complicated due to the physical nature of public art. If a city wants to create a new mural or put a new sculpture somewhere, it's a complex process. You have generally a group of people who are going to see a couple of different proposals from artists. There's going to be a decision of which artwork is going to be made. Then there is the process of the fabrication of the artwork itself. If it's a large-scale sculpture, it's going to take maybe 6 months to actually make the sculpture. If it's a mural, it can take many weeks or several months to actually do the mural. So it's a long process. And when the public art is in situ, it's going to stay here for many years, for decades. It's not going to be easily changed. Now, everything I see digital screens in city, or I see a white wall on which you can project an image, I would like to see more artwork on all these screens in the city. And using NFT, a city can change every week, every day, putting in public display a new artwork. They can invite dozens of new artists, local artists, international artists to showcase their work and to change and ask the community, what type of art do you want? And I think the future of public art will include NFT. We always will have this physical sculpture, but on all these screens, we can use them to show public art. And my work was shown in Miami a few weeks ago in Fort Lauderdale. Broward County, the cultural division of Broward County, is doing an amazing job to showcase NFT art and digital art. And they did a festival. It lasted 1 week, and they were showing digital art everywhere in the city, in the county, on walls projected with video projectors, on screens, and everybody loved it. The most heartwarming things I saw was families with children in push cart who are, oh, this is so beautiful, this digital artwork. Everybody loved it, not just art expert, but entire family were enjoying digital art. So I encourage every city here to consider using NFT for public art. Thank you.
We've heard a lot of different ideas, all very personal, all very transformative. And this morning was a much more practical metaverse discussion, and I think this one is a much more beautiful. And if we can talk, and I can throw this out to people, NFTs, to me, they mostly sit in people's phones and nobody ever sees them. And nobody's really sure what they own because the contract actually doesn't live on OpenSea or Rarible. It lives somewhere else. And I think we have obstacles for each one of you, and Sylvain as well, to overcome. What's your favorite overcoming obstacle? Last 2 seconds. Go ahead. Yeah. I think we'll use one mic. Just last thoughts.
Last thought. Wow, I mean, it's been such a invigorating panel, everybody's content. In terms of challenge, I see more the positive side. So, I see this opportunity of dreams, of either kind of window-like, structures where, you look out and it's a different world kind of thing, which you can build. And also kind of mirroring to, what we already have, what is good about it, and maybe what we can do better, right? This idea of also maybe time travel with, Metaverse 2 is to propose the kind of city that we want to build in the future, the kind of place that we want to live, the kind of life, right? That we want to live. Maybe it's also energy efficient. It's, visually beautiful. And, as an artist, I also actually had my artwork shown on, LED screen on Times Square, in Shanghai, in city center of Wuhan. And I think that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to build giant screen in Metaverse too, right? So I love this dialogue, and I think within the minimum, the kind of liminal spaces, there's so much more opportunity that I'm so excited about. So.
Okay, Pierre, quickly, because I think we're over. Are we over?
I think the user experience could be greatly improved. Right now, if you want to jump into the metaverse and consider collecting NFTs, you have to open a crypto wallet. You have to purchase cryptocurrency using a cryptocurrency platform. You have to register to one of the many NFT marketplaces, and it's not that easy. But I'm hopeful that all these companies will make the process much more streamlined. I think it's one of the point of improvement to have a much better user experience.
I think for me is the regulations, and I think people are not talking about this, and technology is going way fast, but the law is having some challenges to catch up with the technology. So I think government regulations and any kind of laws in order to protect all what we discuss in Metaverse.
Yeah, and we heard that from the CTO of New York this morning, too, that we really have to do that. And Rehana, do you want to chime in with last takeaway thought really quickly?
Actually, it's also in a way it's legislation, but in the sense of legal clarity. It's really bringing some legal clarity so that people feel confident to use it, and it's really striking the right balance between protecting the creation of the artist, and at the same time fostering, a reuse. So it's very much in line with what we want to do: promote digital content, promote services and applications, but at the same time make sure that the artist gets value out of his or her creation.
And Sylvain, do we have a minute from you to just sort of bring this to closure? Last thoughts?
What I want is always that technology serves art and not art serves technology. I think that what is important if we want to avoid the 1984 2.0 world is to put at the core of all what we do humanity. And I think art is the best, and culture is the best way to avoid this kind of, world that we want to avoid. And we are very grateful for the artists that they helped us to do it.
Thank you. What a wonderful note to go out on. And I want to thank our tech staff. Can you give them a round of applause? Because we kept them jumping till the last minute. Dr. Haas for putting this all together. And these panelists were like a little like herding cats, I won't lie. But so wonderful to be with and to learn from you. Thank you so much.